Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cooldown Lap presented by Midwest Motorsports. We are on episode 12 here, guys. So I'll go ahead and get some introductions in. We got a special guest with us here tonight, so we're going to get into it. I'm your host, Anthony Castor, driver of the 8 car in the Cup Series. I'm joined with James. Go on, James.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm James J., the voice of Midwest Motorsports. I'm glad you're with us tonight, and I do the commentary for the Truck Series, the Cup Series, and the Road Series Fridays, Sundays, and Tuesday nights. I'm glad to be here. Hope you're doing well, Ant. Good to hear your voice again.
Oh, yeah, man. Doing good, doing good. Crazy week with work and everything, and just let out some announcements today on the new season, so we'll touch up on that a little bit before we end the podcast here. But I said we had a special guest, didn't I? We'll go ahead and introduce him as driver of the 11 Cup Series trucks, road, and the old Xfinity Series. We have Dustin Reinstedt on with us tonight. Dustin, you there?
I am here. It sucks here in the old Xfinity series. That's gonna be new.
Yeah, like we said, it isn't gone, but it's gone for right now. So we'll have to touch base on that one again when our
Not
longer
goodbye.
winter
It's see
series.
you later.
Exactly, it's not goodbye. It's see you when we do.
Maybe.
Maybe. So congrats on winning the Cup and the Xfinity Series championships. Man, you're pretty dominant in all three series. Uh, I'll go ahead and hand over to James here for a few minutes and have him ask you some questions. But go ahead,
Yes,
James.
sir. It was really fun racing with everybody. I think dominant's probably a little too kind. Ty came on strong after about January 1. It seemed like new year, new Ty Williams. He was hard to handle, but it was really fun. I enjoyed it. All the racing's good. We even had like a 0x or like a 2x race at one point in Xfinity. So I love that, being able to race hard and clean with everybody.
You've had some great races, man. I mean, it seems like you always, I've had a lot of fun calling the races with you too, Dustin. I mean, it's been a lot of fun seeing you have to work harder than others sometimes. It seems like it definitely you earned every race that you won. Um and so that's been a lot of fun, first of all. So I do want to congratulate you, and yeah, I just want to know how you keep your butt from hurting from all the hours you got on sitting in your sim rig, man. Is there something special you do for because you're racing 4 nights a week with us, and then you do a lot of other leagues and even some officials to keep your I rating going? Or if you had to put a number on the number of hours per week you were in your sim rig, and you can, I know your wife might be listening, but you know, um, you can be honest with us. Nobody, we won't tell
Yeah.
her.
So I actually do, which it'll be one less from with Xfinity, but I have 7 races a week in 3 different leagues. 4 of which Midwest Motorsports. Those are definitely the ones that I try the hardest on. But I'm kind of at that point now where I've been on iRacing for a little over 2 years, or like right at 2 years, I think. And it's to the point now where it's like I have the feel of, I know what I'm trying to look for. I don't really quite fully know what I'm doing on here. Sometimes I get lucky and guess with the brake bias and such, but I definitely don't put in as much practice as I used to. And I started to there towards the end of the season, trying to make sure I could hold off Ty, and or at least keep up with him in the truck series, or whatever it is. But I think the seat time, I mean, if you kind of factor in an hour and a half, 2 hours per race, it's in the 12 to 14 hour range just in the racing each week. So that definitely helps. I haven't been on here in a while. I actually was practicing for a race tonight at Darlington, and the first couple laps were really bad. So I'm enjoying the break, getting some time in between races, but it's also you go from doing it every day to not, and you can tell a difference for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at some stats, and I'll just go over the Cup Series stats at first. But and there's a point to my. I'm not just bragging on you, but I do have a question here. 18 starts in the league this season. Your average start was 2.4. So very rarely did. Seems like the road courses, your average start was 4. Average finish 3.9, and that's across all of them. But short tracks seem to be your worst. Your average start was 3.2, but your average finish was close to 8. So is there something about short tracks that don't
There's
suit you? Or?
actually there's an asterisk there. So for the North
Okay.
Wilkesboro race, I had to leave early, so it's kind of like a starting park almost.
Oh, okay.
So that one that's back whenever we had like
It
20
screws the
something guys
numbers.
in the Cup Series, and
Right.
it killed my stats because I was looking at that too, because I actually kind of pride myself in being able to do better at short tracks, specifically Bristol or tracks like Dover, some high bank tracks. I love banking. So that one caught me off guard. And road courses, it just seemed like turn one, lap one, every one of them this year, except for the one I managed to sneak away from JT when he slipped up. Uh, had to get that in there, of course. But other than that, I mean, it seemed like lap one, turn one, I was losing it. Especially the Roval, I think I lost it all 3 races in the first turn somehow. Just trying to be too aggressive on the start. So that got me. It's hard once you lose track position at a road course that never has a stop. It's hard to
Sure.
get it back.
The other stat that really stuck out to me, and I know you pride yourself on all these extra bonus points, was the incidents per start was 2.1. So 2x. If anybody goes into a race thinking they're only going to get 2x that race, they probably consider that mission accomplished. But all the super speedways, your incidents per start was 0.00. So again, this is Cup Series only, but is that something that you thought about before the season even began on capitalizing on the bonus points? Because when the chase came around, you had a pretty big lead.
Yeah. So I guess this makes my second Xfinity championship. The first one I got, which was my first original league championship here with Midwest, I won basically just off of 0x bonus points and poles. We were dead even at the end of the year for race points, and that ended up being the difference. So I definitely try to get those because they're to me they're the easier ones to get. I mean, obviously you can get caught up in everybody's stuff and have a bad day, but as long as you just manage your car and just race the track and you can stay out of stuff, that's an easy bonus point to go grab for sure. But yeah, bonus points, stage points. Like I just wanted to talk to you during the race. That's why I was trying so hard.
That's right. That's right. I always bring up the stage winners, and well, not always. I try my best to. And you've always been gracious with us, and a couple times I think I brought you back right as Barney was pulling off into the pits. But yeah,
It's all
no,
good.
yeah. Thanks a lot for doing that, man. It really takes us inside the race. Do you? I know it's hard to pick a favorite, man. Do you enjoy trucks, cup, road course? What's your if you had
Uh,
a favorite?
my definite favorite is I love the Xfinity car, but I've really figured out this Cup car because for it to be a fixed setup, you can do so much with the brakes and changing around the brake cylinders to actually make it almost kind of like an open set. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I went the wrong way at Phoenix, and it definitely didn't work there towards the end of the run. But it I don't know, it's grown on me. At first I hated it because it had the different steering and it felt weird. But now I've kind of figured it out and I really like it. Trucks are fun just because they're so tightly packed for the whole race. It seems like every track we go to that's a mile and a half has a drafting involved with it, which is really exciting. Sometimes it's also aggravating because that's when contact's pretty easy to happen when you're side by side at a mile and a half every lap. But it's definitely a lot more exciting than when you get strung out and get into those boring races. But Those are also fun too because you get strategy involved. So I just like it all. Not gonna lie. Schedules. I never even look at schedules whenever I determine if I'm gonna do something or run somewhere. I just show up and enjoy it.
Big picture, how did you find Midwest Motorsports?
I actually told Eric this when I first joined, Eric and JT. I went on the league search back then, and I just clicked on like beginner friendly league or some kind of filter, and it's the first one that pops up. So it was first choice on the list, and it ended up being the best one, no doubt.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, like I say, you and Ty Williams definitely were battled across multiple series, and so yeah, that's like I said, that's been a lot of fun to watch. He nipped you out in the trucks chase, but
Yeah,
when it
he
comes to
he
the truck
absolutely
racing,
earned it. He really probably could
yeah,
have earned the other two as well if he didn't have to miss a couple races in the playoffs. He's pretty consistent. I have to give him that. There was at one point, I can't remember where we were at, but I felt like I ran the perfect race and he passed me with like 4 or 5 laps left. And after the race was over with, I just told everybody in the admin chat like, I don't know what else I could have done.
Yeah. Is your jet getting ready to take off there, Dustin?
It is actually.
Well, I got a
It,
quick question for you, then we'll let you go. Okay.
yes, sir.
What are you looking forward to most here in the next season? Is it the hard racing between competitors? Is it some of the rule changes? What exactly are you looking forward to?
Yes,
Yes, all
all
of
of
it.
it. I'm really excited. I posted earlier that I didn't think it was going to change up the strategy too much. But there's definitely going to be some different ways that you can earn points and kind of do some different things here and there to make some things work and get some points that otherwise you probably couldn't have got in the stage system.
For sure. Well, we'll let you catch your plane, man, and good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
congrats
Yep.
on a great season, Dustin. See you next year.
Thanks, guys.
That was Dustin Reinstall there, the 11 car. He actually is pulling another race there. We pulled him in just after qualifying, and they were set to go green, so we didn't want to keep him and distract him from running his other race there. So we did want to start with him just so we could get that in before before he started his race. But now we're going to go to our normal segment we would do to
I like
start.
Dustin, man.
Oh, dude.
Dustin, he's never shied away from an interview. That's for sure, Bob. He'd really just a down to earth dude. You know, at the end of the day, he wants to win. He works hard just like everybody else does. But you know, he's never. I haven't seen him rub anybody the wrong way, whether that's the chat or the chatter or on the track too. You know, it seems like he gives a lot of space. He races hard, but I've never seen him, you know, retaliate or even don't wreck somebody, intentionally or not intentionally. You know, he seems to leave space and take space when you give it to him.
I will say that Dustin is a hard competitor, man. He'll run you hard, he'll run you clean, but he'll run you hard, and I appreciate the heck out of him for that. And when he does something, like if he does run you over, he's always good about messaging you and saying like, "Hey, either I didn't mean to run you over, or this is why this happened." Um,
Who's got the best chance of beating him next season?
oh, dude,
I
next
guess we got
season,
to see an entry list first, I guess. But you know,
yeah, I mean,
before signups even open,
Ty's up there on my list. I mean, I don't want to write myself off, dude. I had some
yeah,
hot races there towards the end.
yeah, you did.
And I mean, JT catches fire every now and again too. So Huffman, he has a lot to prove after last season, being the champion the season before and coming out, and he had a rough start the last season. So if he can come firing out, he'll be good to go. There's some of our competitors. I don't know if you've seen it in the chat. Got some new equipment. We'll
Okay.
see if that helps them out with keeping pace and climbing up the rankings. I mean, there's
And,
going to be good.
sorry, I was just going to say there might be higher car counts as well. You know, with Saturday nights dropping off, maybe some guys will be more likely to to sign up for Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Sunday option, we have the Friday truck option, and Tuesdays is always open too. I mean, if more people want to join the road series, we got options still.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I definitely would like to see bigger car counts in the Cup Series, but at the same time, it is the top level of of the real NASCAR. So, you know, it's just going to be exciting to see who crosses over and how the season starts to play out. And I like the rules changes. I know you guys have worked really hard on that, and there's been a lot of chat going on in the general today, and I'm glad people are starting to read the rules and pay closer attention to them. But yeah, I'm real excited for next season. I want to get started. I know we have a couple more weeks, but um, yeah, I'm excited for it. I hope you are.
oh yeah, and the there's things that change that we haven't even gone over yet. I mean, with it being the summer season, we tend to run a little shorter on that. So, like the schedule's probably gonna be a little shorter than our winter schedule, which is a lot longer because people are gonna be inside more in the winter versus the summer, of course. So, we're putting the schedule together now, um, going off of the votes that were cast. Uh, I know there's some tracks that aren't on there that I really wish were on there, but again, it's the summer league. It's going to be a shorter season than what we typically have in the winter. So, and with the rule changes, the summer league is a great time to try different rules out, see how they work with a shorter season. See if it's something we can carry over to the winter season, or hey, this is completely off where we want to be, and make changes for the longer season. Then, so that's the beauty with a league. I mean, you can finagle things and try to make things better for everybody. Versus the one big thing we had over the last couple seasons was the people running away with points, because it seemed like if you won stages, you'd get tons of points for the season and the playoffs. And even with a reset, people were still taking off. Like, I think Dustin was able to sit out like 3 races this last season in the playoffs and still had a pretty comfortable lead. So, and that's nothing to take away. I mean, he had a really good season, but it was just kind of hard to find a good balance of points, making points uh, important for both stage racing and the chase. So this ought to make
Yeah,
things a little bit easier.
yeah, I agree. And it's going to be interesting with the yellow flag rules too. So I'm excited for more announcements and to actually get on track and start doing it and putting it into practice. So you're not going to want to miss it if you haven't signed up. Well, I know signups aren't open yet, but yeah, keep your eyes out. Make sure you reserve your number when you can, because I think they're going to have some great racing on the oval side, and um, yeah, I'm excited. The best way to see how it plays out is to run the races, man. So it's going to be awesome.
Exactly. So since we start off with our guests, so we had to squeeze them in, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this week in motorsports with you guys.
Yeah.
So, James, you have anything you'd like to talk about this week?
Oh man, I got a lot I want to talk about this week.
Go
I don't
ahead.
even know where to start. Because you and I usually chat a little bit ahead of time and at least give me like what area you're going with. So if you're watching on the Twitch stream, go ahead and chat us up and tell us what real racing you'd like to talk about this that happened this week. I'm going to leave the NASCAR side to you, so I'm going to talk about the IndyCar race at Barber. I don't know if you saw any of that or were able to catch up um, on it, or even if you even care. But specifically, the the racing was great, first of all. But before the racing, they had press conferences all week about the IndyCar push to pass rule being violated, and that's probably my big eye opening moment. Um, you know, Did you
Yeah,
hear about that, Ant?
I
Or
heard about it. Yeah. Penske
okay,
got slapped down.
yeah. And so as more that the details came about, so apparently at St. Petersburg, which is the opening track, the three Penske cars were able to use push to pass when nobody else was. So race control in the tower has a switch they could turn off, and that you can't use push to pass until like at the end of the first lap, basically after a restart and on the initial start. And
Mhm.
apparently, Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin were able to use push to pass when that switch was turned off in the tower. So, I mean, there's no way you could say that you didn't know that you couldn't do it, or you thought everybody had it when you were the only ones that had push to pass. Obviously, that's like 40 or 50 extra horsepower. You feel it. The lights
Yeah.
go crazy on the steering wheel. The green lights flash when you're pushed to pass. You have to intentionally push a button. So we're going to say that, well, maybe it was a glitch or the software. We thought everybody could. I'm not buying any of that. I think
Hmm.
they flat out cheated and they knew they were cheated. The only one that had it that didn't use it was Will Power. And so I kind of let him slide a little bit, but everything else from Newgarden and McLaughlin, man, it's going to be hard for them to earn my trust after that.
Yep. No, I think I kind of heard them saying like, "Oh, it was software that was left on there from a test. We didn't know we had it." Yada. And I'm in the same boat as you. It's like you're obviously using it. You know you have it. You know the rules,
Right.
so you should be like, I get it. Like you're using it, whatever. But if you thought like you were in violation of it, like wouldn't you like bring it up over the radio or something like, "Hey, my push to pass is working for some reason, guys." Or are you just
Right.
gonna take advantage of that and just run it? And at that point, you're caught.
And
So
if they didn't catch him, at the end of Long Beach, if would they have continued to use it? How much longer into the season? I mean, we'll
well,
never know, but it's just, man, it's frustrating because those are your heroes, man. Newgarden is a champ. He's an Indy 500 winner. It's Roger freaking Penske, man. He owns the league. So I don't know. That was. Can you think of any scandals? I mean, I can only think of Michael Waltrip and the NASCAR thing with the spin on purpose thing. But I mean, has there been? I mean, since Smokey Yunick cheated up his gas tank, has there been is anything similar in NASCAR or any other
yeah,
motorsport?
I think it was last season. It was either last season or season before. People in the chat, if you know what I'm talking about, and if you know what season it was, go ahead and let me know. But Joe Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, I believe it was Denny Hamlin. It might have been another car at Pocono. I think they had like an extra layer of wrap on their car.
Yeah,
And
good
Denny
point.
Hamlin won the race, did his victory burnout and everything, and then it was probably 30 minutes after the race they ended up disqualifying him, lost the win. That's the first time I've ever seen that, like a win taken from somebody.
Right.
Um, there we go. Huffman says 22. He believes it was the first next gen season, if he remembers correctly. I was at that race. I was dejected that Denny Hamlin won it. And
Ah,
I remember listening to the Sirius XM on the way home, and out of nowhere, they're talking about him being disqualified, and I was like, "What?" And I started turning up, and the wife was listening too. She's like, "What do you get disqualified for?" And they brought up the rap, and I was like, "I can't believe something like that would be worth disqualification." But it's the smallest things with these cars.
yeah, that's awesome. Um, yeah, well, anyway, the race at Barber was incredible. Pit strategy, couple of cautions, couple of wrecks. Um, those Indy cars are just so fast, man. It's ridiculous. And also, I don't know if you saw, but there was have you ever been to Barber Motorsports Park or seen it? They have sculptures, like iron sculptures, all throughout the track. They call one section Charlotte's Web, where they've got a spider made of this. I mean, it's huge, probably the size of a house spider made out of iron and welded steel, and um, they put like a web out of rope around it. They call it Charlotte's Web. He's got metal sculptures, weird stuff everywhere. But they've got a crossover bridge that goes to the motorcycle museum, and they hung a mannequin from that bridge right over the track. I guess as their way of being funny or bringing character to it. Well, that mannequin ended up falling off the bridge and onto the racing track.
Oh my
So
word.
I'll put there's a X or Twitter link that I'll put up in the Real Racing Discord after the show tonight, just so you'll see that I'm not making it up. But yeah, that's the bridge going across with this um, mannequin laying on the track, and they had to wait for the next yellow for a service truck to go out there and pick it up off the track.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Um, yeah.
But that's enough about me and my IndyCar stuff. What you got for us this week, Ant?
Well, I believe I posted it in the Real Racing. Did you see Kevin Harvick's going to practice the 5 car and qualify the 5 car for the All-Star race?
I think that's awesome. While Kyle Larson's doing some Indy practice or something, right?
Yeah, he's going to do the Indy practice qualifying, and they didn't think he'd have time to you can't be in both places at the same time. So I don't know how they fell upon Harvick doing it, but that's pretty cool. I thought Bob Pockrass interviewed Larson about it, and Larson's answer to Bob's question on why Harvick would want to do it was pretty funny, because he ended up saying that who wouldn't want to drive a Hendrick powered Chevrolet, and Bob also asked who was the bigger I guess who was the bigger hothead between Kevin Harvick and Cliff Daniels, who is Larson's crew chief, and Larson, he's like, Kevin's kind of calmed down with age. I give that one to Cliff. So I tell you what, man. Towards the end of Kevin's career, he could still get fiery. I remember him beating the crap out of his eyeglasses on top of his car with his helmet.
Yeah, heck yeah. And it was funny. I did see, I don't know if it was an interview, they were both together, but I think Kyle Larson said he's going to have to get the larger print on the dashboard because Kevin's so old and his eyes are getting bad at his old age. That he's going to have to get the senior citizen text font on his.
Yeah, they got to make the gauge
thing.
cluster bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
But Dover looked like it was a packed race, man. That's good to see for NASCAR. I seen lots of people in the Twitter saying they were waiting basically 2 hours to get to the track in traffic, only moving like, I don't know, a half a mile in like an hour. So that's good for the sport. I wish they'd find better ways to kind of move traffic, but it is what it is with everything you have. You can't just put roads in out of nowhere.
Right.
But aside from that, the racing looked like, it looked like next gen racing. A lot of aero blocking. You could pass if you were a fast car, but it's just kind of like running line, and if somebody got a run on you, just put your car in front of them and take their air away. But I would say it was a up to par race. I wouldn't say it was anything spectacular. I wouldn't say it was anything terrible. It's just kind of what you expect at these kind of tracks with this car.
Don't they do a lot of that? I mean, at at tracks where they rim ride, like Homestead, Miami, and some of the was it Michigan, where some guys will be right up on the wall, and at the end you had to go where the other person didn't go just to get clean air, and somebody was trying to pass Kyle Larson, or Kyle Larson was trying to pass somebody, and they ran the Kyle Larson line up on the safer barrier, and he never caught him. He couldn't catch him. So I mean, I don't think that aero blocking is a new thing, taking away the racing line. It's
No,
always been part of
air
the races.
blocking. Yeah, aero. I guess the big thing with this car is once somebody like gets up in front of you,
Yeah.
it takes the air off the nose way more than it did the old car. So you basically get free, super free. With the old car, you could kind of close that gap and actually put the bumper to him. I mean, I don't think it disturbed you near as much from what I'm gathering. But this new car, it just seems like once you get up in there, it kind of just puts the brake on and run. So the bigger tracks like Homestead and Michigan and such, the nice thing about those is you can try and pass on that bomb line, get a run, and throw a crossover on them or
Slide
try and
job.
slide job. That's it. That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of. You can throw a slide job on them. Dover. I mean, you can. I think you can try a slide job, but I don't think that track's big enough in the corners to really set up something like that. Whereas like Michigan and Homestead and such, you have those big arcing corners where you can really send it down in and slide up. But I don't know. It's been kind of the talking point for this car since its inception. It just seems like once you get in that air behind the car, you want to be leading. You want that clean air, and you want to be putting the dirty air behind you. But
Clean air has always been king.
yeah,
So I love it.
but
I thought it was awesome racing. I love
yeah,
it. That
yeah.
Xfinity race was killer too.
Where are they going this weekend? Do you know off the top of your
Uh,
head?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I'll look into it and get it figured out.
Thought I had it up.
We will go ahead and move into the next segment.
Let's go.
So we're going to go into the road series here. It looks like you guys were out at the Nürburgring, correct?
Yeah, the GP circuit, not the big one, but the Grand Prix circuit that the Formula One uses and other GT series. Man, awesome racing. Max Bauer put it on pole. He led flag to flag. Nobody could catch him. He ran mistake free for an hour and 40 minutes. I don't think he saw anybody until it was time to start lapping people. Um, but behind him, it was an incredible race. And it took him a while to break away, but it was just, you know, on the pole by about 3/10, I think. And then every lap, he just got half a tenth away, another tenth here, another tenth there. And just Josh Bloom didn't have anything for him. I will say that Michael Odell came from about 18th. Now, I'm not sure if he had a pit lane start or EOL or something maybe, or if he just had a bad qualifying, but he came through the pack like a banshee, and good for him. He had some good racing coming through the field. So Aaron uh, Holroyd joined me for it, and we had a lot of fun calling the race, and that was one of the storylines we were watching. But behind Max Bauer, there were 3 or 4 trains. Aaron calls them the choo-choo trains. With there were, I think it was Mouse Kula, John Daniels, and Justin Thaler, and there were Justin Glickner. There were like 4 Porsches in a row that were just glued on each other's tails the whole for like 40 minutes out of the hour and 40 till the pit cycles came through. Um,
Wow.
uh, Ty Williams and Ian Bakaitis, they were both running Mercedes. They were battling for 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, some of these battles were going on lap after lap after lap on a 18 turn 3 mile track, uh, to be going at it less than a tenth of a part for 40 minutes. Man, it was just the GT4s this season have really put together a great season and they're great racing. Congrats to everybody that's been in it. I will say, shout out to Jason Phillips. He ended up getting second behind Max Bauer, uh, but his paint job. Did you see it on the Discord, Ant?
No, I didn't get a chance to see
It's
it.
pretty special, man. He had a Midwest Motorsports. He ran a Mercedes AMG, and it was a black and white police car that had the windshield visor banner was half red and half blue to like the police lights. He had a banner in the front grill that was half blue and half red. It looked like police lights. It had Midwest Motorsports police force on the side. It was just all decked out Midwest Motorsports police. I thought that was really cool for him to spend that much time painting it up something or learning to use GIMP or trading paints or whatever he did, Photoshop to get it to work right. All the layers came out great. It blended great. It was really cool for Jason Phillips to do that. So I do want to recognize him for it and a good second place. Um, Josh Bloom got third. Niles Cooler came through with the win on the AM side, and Albert Williams got Ian Bakaitis at the end, and that was your amateur podium. But it was a great endurance race. I hope that that was the second of 3 endurance races this season, and I hope everybody's enjoying them as much as we are in the booth. And we'll have one more endurance later on at Bathurst Mount Panorama. But
Ooh.
first, yeah, that's going to be an hour and 40 minutes, 100 minutes
Oh,
at Bathurst. Yes, in a GT4 car. That's coming up the end of May, I believe.
that sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds wicked. And
uh,
not before we go to Long Beach next week.
yes, Long Beach. Yeah, awesome. So, what's your thoughts on the endurance races, man? Do you enjoy those more than the standard races, or do you feel like there's something that they're doing the right thing by only putting a couple in for the whole series?
I don't know. I think 3 is a pretty good number. Out of 15, so that's like 1 out of every 4 or 1 out of every 5 is an endurance race. And I'm not bad with that number. I don't want them to be saturated. I don't want them to be all endurance races. But I
Mhm.
do think that second pit stop opens up some strategy. So I absolutely love them. But again, I'm in the booth calling the racing action. I'm not actually driving. So if any GT4 riders are out there, I'm sure the poll time will come around. But you know, let the admins know what you think about the endurance races sometime between now and the next one, and um, let us know what you're thinking. But uh, be prepared for that poll coming up. But I absolutely love it. I think two-stop races open up some strategy. Justin Glickner and Justin Thaler, I saw them talking in the race chatter before the race even started,
Hmm.
and so they were in a voice chat together, uh, just themselves. And I figured they were working on a plan, and it turned out they both came into pit as soon as that first pit window opened. So basically, you can get about 40 minutes on a tank of gas. That's a round number. Sometimes it's 35, sometimes it might be 42. So average is about 40. So if you got a 100-minute race, you could split it up 40 and 40. So that would be 80. That leaves you with a 20-minute stint somewhere. So either first or last. So what Glickner and Thaler did was they came in at about 16 or 17 minutes, and nobody else did. Everybody else was going to at least 20 or 30. I'm sorry, at least 30 or 40. They're usually at least the 30-minute mark. So I thought the Justins, Glickner and Thaler, I thought the Justins were doing good by just kind of throwing a curveball in. Now they had to run in the back of the pack after their stop, but by then the traffic was sorted out. We're 20 minutes in, so it didn't play out for them. It didn't work too bad. Well, they ended up crashing each other. Glickner decided to use Thaler for his braking zone going into the hairpin. I'm surprised Justin hasn't said more about that, but I was hoping he would be here tonight to ask him about it. But they were running together. They came in and pitted together, and they came out. They were together, and then a few laps later, Glickner runs into the back of Justin, and Justin, he doesn't spin out, but he kind of half spins and gets in the kitty litter before one of the long straight sections. So it pretty much put him about 5 seconds behind. But he only lost 5 seconds, but still 5 seconds is a lot when you're trying to flip a strategy like that. But he basically that's what he did was they tried to flip the stages. Kind of like when you're stage racing an oval, you can flip it depending on pitting right before the caution comes out. So that's basically the same kind of theory what they were trying to do. and I would have liked to see it play out without. But again, lots of ifs. In an hour and 40 minutes, it's hard to run a perfect race in an 18 turn track. You
Yeah.
pretty much have to be perfect to flip a strategy like that. So I don't know. It's going to take perfection to beat Max Bauer, Jason Phillips, and Josh Bloom anyway. So um, yeah, it's pretty exciting race. But those are the kinds of storylines that me and Aaron try to bring to the people when we're streaming on the Twitch stream. So if you haven't listened to a GT4 race, go back and listen. I think you'll enjoy it. We have a good time, and I think they're fun to listen to.
Heck yeah, man. You guys do a great job on it, as always. I know you guys probably get tired of hearing us say that, but you guys have brought that broadcast a long way. So you guys keep up the great work.
Hey, thanks, man. It's a lot of fun.
So I've got the overall championship standings up. It looks like Brian Cox in there is in first with the overall lead there. Jason Phillips in a close second, 150 points behind. Joshua Bloom in a third, 245 points behind the leader. Travis Rowe, fourth, 625 points behind, and Jesse Coffey is 1,000 points behind the leader. How do you see that shaking up at all, James,
Yeah,
over the next couple
don't let
races?
those numbers fool you. I mean, there's as much as 100, 200 point swing in a race or two. So I know Max Bauer had one race that was really pretty much a DNF for him. He pulled over, but um, yeah, it's still too early to call it. Um, I mean, 150 points. I think anybody in the top 5 or 6 has a chance. Michael Odell might be pushing it, um, but he's had some really good races and he's missed a race, I think. So, but yeah, I'm impressed with Travis Rowe. Jesse Coffey is the only one of the 2 BMWs in the whole league, and he's holding down P5 and he's been running up front, so it shows that you can do it. Yeah, I think anybody in the top 5 or 6 right now is in for a chance, and there's still some close battles in the back. I mean, you can see less than 100 points between Ty Williams and Justin Glickner. Um, I know there are pros and ams, but there's, like I say, there's battles up and down, and still barely halfway through the season. So we're just barely halfway through the season. There's still a lot of racing to come.
Yeah. Looking at the Pro Division Championship standings, looks like we have Brian Coxon, of course, in the lead with that one. Jason Phillips still 150 points behind. Joshua Bloom 245 points behind. Travis Rose 625. Jesse Coffey 1,000. Basically the same thing for the top 5 there. There is one name on here that kind of surprises me to see it down in 10th place there. Max Bauer.
Yeah,
Has he been
yeah,
missing some races, or what's
yeah.
going on there?
Well, he got in. The Red Mist got him one race at Road Atlanta, which was our endurance race, our first endurance race, and ended up pulling over in the pits and just kind of riding it out. Ended up getting last place there. Um, so yeah, that is kind of surprising. He's last season's GT4 champion, um, and he missed a race completely, and he had a bad race, but he still has 2 wins and another podium on top of that. So, um, you know, I think I don't think he's going to be in the run for repeating a championship, but I do think he's got a chance in um, um, maybe making it back up to inside the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is for somebody above him to miss a race or go out of town or have family, something go on with family. So um, you never know, but he's pretty much a full race behind the leaders. So I think to be in the top 3 for him, I think to be in the top 3, you're gonna have to run all of the races. And Max has already missed one, and Road Atlanta was next to last. So
Yeah. Looking at the AM division, I tell you what, man, Ty's impressive. Going from oval, kicking butt in oval, and then coming over here to the road series, and he's leading the AM division. Dang, good job to him, man. So we have Ty Williams leading the AM division. Ian Bakaitis, 270 points behind in second. Niles Kula, 835 points behind in third. Aaron Mitchell is in fourth place, 1,950 points behind, and yeah, that's it's getting a little bit bigger there. And Nick, how do you say that last name, James?
Calguru, Nicholas Calguru.
Calguru, 2,270 points behind. And then you got Dustin there out of the oval side. He's hanging around sixth. I think he had to miss a couple races with golf stuff, but again, good to see some of the oval guys out there repping. Ty's just an animal.
Yeah, you got to look at the behind next too. So even though the top three are pretty much running away with it,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is okay, but still we're only halfway in. But they're on the behind next. If you're within 200 points of the next, that means you're also within, maybe 100 points of the next one up. So there's I think Christopher Hopper could move up a couple spots if he has a couple good runs. Justin Shoup had a great run. He's only been in 6 races of the 8 so far. So I think there's a reason we run them all. And just get out of the league what you can. Try to do your best, but most importantly, have fun. This is not everybody can win, and you can see the ones that are taking it. They're participating in all the races are the ones that are, maybe serious about it. But I don't think that winning the whole thing is the whole experience at Midwest Motorsports. I mean, I think all of the races have been competitive. There have been races, like I say, there were 3 and 4 car trains the whole race. You're almost always racing with somebody. I think I felt bad for Francis Faustino. He was kind of in a no man's land, looking for somebody to race with for a while. He was just cranking out his own laps until he got found. I think a pit cycle came through, and he was able to find some people to race with. But otherwise, they're almost always racing with somebody, and just man, I could tell from the booth. I can see the smiles, and these guys were giving space and taking space and racing clean and fair and hard. It was, yeah, this league has turned into something pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting always seeing those guys talking down in the road channel. They get along great. It's like one big family, and there's always some kind of topic being tossed around down there. So it's good
And
to see everybody
everybody's
racing
getting
close.
better. I mean, you're still getting better. You learn stuff as you go, and you've
Mm-hmm.
been doing this for a long time. So, um, yeah, everybody can always get better. And I think
Yeah,
that's what the mission is. Yeah.
it took me. Oh man, this season we're going into season 7, and I'd say last season, season 6, was probably my most competitive season. So it took me quite a few seasons to actually get competitive, and it's just a testament to the people that have been in the league, that have moved on, and the people that are currently in the league. They just make you better. That's the beautiful thing about league racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna touch on a couple things. So we're gonna slowly release some of these rules we've updated over the season for season 7. Some of these you guys have seen in the Discord. Some of these you probably looked over in the rule book and missed it. So we're gonna start with some small ones, and then next week I'm going to dive into some of the bigger changes that came up for discussion today in the rule book. So we'll start with some easy ones today, and then, like I said, next week we'll get some big ones on, and maybe get a little interactive with the Twitch next week on people asking questions. So, as you guys may have noticed, Truck Series IR cap has been raised to what the Xfinity cap was. It's raised up to 2,750. So any of the Xfinity guys that want to hop over to the cup side, or sorry, the truck side, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about that IR cap being an issue. We do require a B license or admin discretion on joining the truck series. That's just try and clean it up a little so we don't have rookie drivers or drivers that are ill prepared for the series. Fast repairs. So Cup, you guys are staying at 1. Trucks, you guys are going down to 1. So last season, I believe you guys had 2. You're down to 1. So we've probably
One
been
fast
trying.
repair.
Yeah, we've probably been pounding this drum pretty hard throughout the day, and everybody's probably getting tired of hearing it. But we really want to promote clean racing. James, you probably know better than I, but hearing it and seeing it in the chats last season, it sounds like trucks had quite a few rough races where you'd have multiple cautions or you'd have high incident races where it seems like every 5 laps somebody's getting wrecked or getting door slammed or something.
Yeah,
So
those. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, I understand some of it, but I think a lot of it could have been prevented. I think knocking it down to 1 fast repair will help everybody realize to maybe give each other a little more space. As well as the um, we haven't talked about IPL yet, but I think increasing the I rating, is also going to increase the number of trucks that are going to be out on the track. So just hopefully we can maintain even more awareness, knowing that there are more trucks on track and we only have 1 fast repair. So maybe I will give a little more room and not force it until we're coming down to the last,
and
to the end.
I kind of feel also going into getting away from the stage racing. I kind of feel like that kind of lets people kind of progress into the race at their own pace. They don't have to be super aggressive to try and get stage points in the first 20 laps. They can methodically charge through the field, albeit, again, we're going to touch on this over the next couple weeks, but we're going to have a competition caution in the race. You're going to have your natural cautions. So I kind of feel like the removal of stages might de-escalate some of the aggressive driving a little. I mean, you're probably still going to have that one guy that's like, hey, I want to be at the front. I want to be in the front. I want everybody behind me. And he kind of just like hard charges his way up there. But again, I mean, with the oval refresh, people burning tires, tires wearing faster than what they used to, different racing lines and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how the races kind of progress now that it's going to be a natural race versus breaking it up into segments and
In an actual season, you're racing for points all season long, not
yeah.
just racing to get bonus points. So I forgot about the aspect of dropping the stages. So there aren't going to be any stages either, which kind of amps up the adrenaline. So now that knowing that we're going to that number, and that is the number, not just a stage, and then we're going to have a break and kind of reset. So
Yeah, we get that one.
yeah,
I'll call it the one official reset where we re-rack the field and then go back to it. I'm pretty excited about. I was talking to you and Dustin about it before we got onto the podcast, but I'm pretty excited about seeing how the competition cautions in the road racing works out. Me and Josh Watts, race control, were out doing some testing last night at our 2 road courses we're going to be at, and uh, it felt pretty natural having him pull out onto the track as a pace
Okay.
car, pick up the field.
So
Pace,
Barney is not going to be driving the pace car?
yeah, Barney's not going to be out there on the road courses. Oval, you're still going
Oh,
to see Barney,
let's
but
go.
yeah, road courses, you're going to see Mercedes pace car out there, and we're going to have him pace faster than what Barney would, so we can keep our tire temps up and uh, kind of keep us kind of in a groove while re-racking the field.
That's
So
cool.
it's we did some testing. I tested a couple things to see if there's like a strategy aspect to it, if you could generate strategy out of it, and my head was going in like 30 different directions on how you can kind of turn the race upside down with that competition caution at road course in a good way. It's going to make a lot of people think. I hate thinking while driving, but it's going to make a
Yeah.
lot of people think, and I think it's going to add a element to the strategy. So, which again, that's one more thing that we need in this league is people having to strategize to come out on top. So,
So
I'm eager. Okay.
how's Josh driving on his road courses? Is he does he remember how to drive in the sim rig? I haven't seen him racing quite a
Oh, dude,
while.
I was pleasantly surprised. Watkins Glen, I think he had one or two kind of like oh shit moments where he is like coming up through or he's coming out of the pits and I think the tires started to break on him. But aside from that, he got it down quick.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
and
Attaboy.
then
Way to get into it, Josh. No traction
yeah,
control.
Sonoma man, he was laying some laps. Like I was
Sonoma.
out there running some heaters, just trying to get my tires warm, and he went out and I think he ran 3 seconds on me in that Merc, and he didn't even warm up his tires yet. So it took him a minute to get used to Sonoma, and I'm going to say this: if any of you guys haven't ran Sonoma in a season or two, get some practice in. As blind hills and stuff, it took me probably 3 or 4 laps to get the track back down, the braking points, the uh where the off tracks are, where you can go off track. It's a little more forgiving than Watkins Glen, but I tell you what, man, it's like going around on ice skates. So get some practice in, guys. It's going to be a fun one. The entire season, I think, is going to be honestly, even with all the changes, I think it's going to be another great season. So I'm looking forward to it. I know Robert Sanders was asking when we're doing recruitment races because he wants to get back into it. I'm eager. I'm ready to go.
Cool. Yeah, what's it like not having racing for in your sim rig for a couple of weeks now?
So the wife likes it. She's like, "Oh, hey, you're not going in there on Sunday?" I'm like, "Nah." But she was a little disappointed last night when I had to go test with Josh. But it felt good, man. It felt good to get back into it and turn the wheel a little bit and get used to the car. It's definitely weird not racing. Like I look at the clock, I see it's 7 o'clock. I'm like, oh man, I should be practicing right now, but I'm not. What the heck?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm eager. I'm ready for it to start. Ready to go to Daytona. Keep my nose clean, so I ain't getting one of those EOLs we're going to talk about next week. And get this season going. I gotta put Phoenix behind me, getting into Dustin and start anew.
Yeah, we're turning over a new leaf, man. Next season's going to be great. Hope
Heck yeah.
everybody joins us. Keep our eye open on the Discord for sign up. When are sign ups going to open?
I believe JT was looking at opening them up this week. So
Okay.
if you're in the Discord, guys, be on the lookout. I'm sure he'll make an announcement that signups are up, so you guys can get your uh, numbers assigned to you and get back into your Discord channels. If you're not in the Discord yet and you're interested, um, you're going to see our guys' stuff at the end of the podcast up on the screen. Go ahead and sign up on the iRacing account and join our Discord. We're a great group to talk with, get along with, and everybody in there's eager to help. So if you're new or you're somebody that's been racing for a couple seasons and just hasn't found anywhere it really fits for you, come give us a shot.
And it's been great fun tonight, man. Thank you, brother.
Oh, no. Thank you, James. It's been another good show. I'm happy to do this with you every week and hoping that we can put on another good show next week.
I look forward to it, man. We'll do our best.
Heck, that's all we can do, buddy. All right, guys. So we're going to end the podcast with that, and we'll catch you all next week.
Stay in your lane.